Hello, good day class, and today I'm going to discuss about lesson 12, which is learning to be a better student. So this is the first lesson doon sa unit 3, which is the last unit of our subject, understanding the self. So according to Carl Rogers, ang sabi niya yung only person daw na educated is the one who has learned how to learn and change. So ang sinasabi niya lang dito is um, kung marunong kang matuto or nagtatanong ka and also tinatanggap mo yung pagbabago mo, ibig sabihin, ikaw yung mas matalino, ikaw yung mas educated kaysa sa taong nagmamagaling. Yun yung sinasabi niya. So, without further ado, I'm going to discuss what is learning. So, pag sinabi nating learning, nakukuha natin yung skills, yung knowledge and attitude through experience. And also learning, it leads to personal growth and development. Siyempre kapag meron kang natutunan, nakakadagdag yun on how you grow as a person. So, naya-apply mo yung natututunan mo. And also, learning is, it starts from birth and it continues through life. So, hindi ibig sabihin kapag pinanganak ka, and wala kang natututunan or nakagraduate ka ng tawag ito, grade 6, ganyan, titigil na dun yung learning mo. Pag sinabi kasi nating learning, it is a continuous process. So, hindi siya nag stop. Hindi siya nag stop sa education lang. Um, Kahit na nakatapos ka na ng college, hindi ibig sabihin doon na hanggang doon ka lang matututo. Pwede kang matuto sa friends, sa family, sa workplace, and so on. And also learning, natututunan natin siya, nakukuha natin siya from observation and imitation. So for example, isa akong tao na hindi marunong mag-TikTok, and then na-curious ako. So ang gagawin ko is mag-observe ako paano ko matututunan mag gumamit ng TikTok. And also, pag natutunan ko na siya through observation, gagayahin ko na siya. So, ganun yung sinasabi ng learning. And according to behaviorists and cognitive psychologists, ang learning is meron siyang relative change in behavior, which is the result of practice and experience. And ano nga ba ang nangyayari kapag um, natututo tayo? Ano nangyayari sa brain? Anong activity? So, meron tayong tinatawag na neuroplasticity. So, sa neuroplasticity, sinasabi lang niya, yun yung capacity or kakayahan ng utak natin na magbago. And, for example, itong word na neuroplasticity is bago sa inyo. So, ina-adapt siya ng brain ninyo. And then, yung brain nyo, para siyang plastic na nag stretch kasi nga, nagkakaroon kayo ng additional information. So, due to additional information, nagkakaroon din tayo ng new neurons or addition of new neurons, and nagkakaroon ng reorganization yung brain natin, wherein yung bagong learning natin isisiksik ni brain kung saan siya banda ilalagay. Kung i-imaginein nyo yung sa Inside Out, yung parang library doon ng mga memories, ganun siya. Saan ilalagay ni brain yung word na neuroplasticity para matandaan mo. And doon sa addition of new neurons, kapag kasi may bago kang information or learning na nakuha, 'di ba mag-a-add ng new neurons. For example, neuron 1 and neuron 2 na bago. So, magka-clash yung dalawang yan, magkakaroon ng electric impulse or electric activity, which we called synapse. So, hanggat may synapse, may natututunan ka, merong activity yung brain natin, which we call neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity happens in two ways. So, una, yun nga, nagkakaroon tayo ng dagdag na number of synapses or electric activity between neurons. So, hindi lang dalawang neuron, tatlo, apat, maraming neurons as long as natututo ka. And also, dahil nga meron tayong additional learning, nagkakaroon ng change sa function and structure of neurons. So, hindi porket may bagong neurons, hindi na rin magpa-function yung mga existing neurons natin. So, yun yung nangyayari kapagka neuroplasticity. So, ano naman ang cognition? So, cognition, isa siyang mental process wherein involve yung pag-gain natin ng knowledge and comprehension. Hindi pwedeng knowledge lang ang meron ka. Kailangan meron ka ding understanding. Paano ka makaka-gain ng learning kung hindi mo naiintindihan yung binabasa mo or yung gusto mong matutunan. And sa cognition, kasama dyan yung thinking, knowing, remembering, judging, and problem solving. So when we say problem solving, kasama na dyan ang critical thinking, analyzation, and logical reasoning. An example of cognition is when you are paying attention. So when you are paying attention, you are thinking, you are curious, you are trying to remember, and you are judging kung paano mo iko-comprehend or iintindihin ng isang bagay. And isa din dyan yung language processing. For example, naturally talagang Tagalog ang dialect mo or ano bang tawag dun? Dialect nyo sa bahay. So, dahil gusto mong matutong mag-Ilocano dahil meron kang kamag-anak or meron kang friend na hindi nakakaintindi ng Tagalog. So, pag-aaralan mo paano mag-Ilocano. And 'di ba kapag bago tayo sa language na yon and then makikipag-usap tayo, sa una is tina-translate muna natin yung word by word sa Ilocano. For example, anyanagan mo, tina-translate mo siya into Tagalog. But later on, pag nahasa mo na siya, um, hindi mo na siya kailangan i-translate kasi nahasa na ng brain mo yung learning na yon. And cognition is different from metacognition. So when we say metacognition naman, meron tayong knowledge and understanding doon sa paano mag-process yung brain natin, yung cognition. And sabi ni John Flavel, ang metacognition is thinking about thinking. Medyo weird siya kasi parang ang sinasabi niya dito, iniisip mo kung bakit ka nag-iisip. Iniisip mo kung bakit nagpa-process yung brain mo ng ganon. Yun yung metacognition. And isa din dyan is aware tayo na nag-iisip tayo. And metacognition comes from the word meta, which means beyond or beyond thinking. Sa cognition kasi, we are allowing na mai-adapt yung existing knowledge and skills para magawa natin yung learning task natin. And hindi siya limited sa thinking process, pero kasama doon yung emotions and motivations natin. So, meron tayong two components of metacognition. So, una dyan, saan na yan? Components of metacognition. Una dyan is metacognitive knowledge. So, pag sinabi nating metacognitive knowledge, alam natin na meron tayong ability sa cognition natin. And alam natin yung cognitive task natin. For example, self-correcting. Pag sinabi kasi nating self-correcting, meron kang mga bagay na nasabi and then later on, naisip mo na mali pala yun. So, aware ka na alam mong mali. Next is metacognitive regulation. From the word regulation, which means we have the control, we are able to maintain kung ano yung cognitive process natin. Namo-monitor natin siya. And ito yung mental process wherein yung kung ano yung plinano natin and na-adapt natin is successfully nating natatapos yung task in a certain time. And aside from components, we have aspects of metacognition. So aspects of metacognition, halos parehas lang sila ni metacognitive. But when we say self-appraisal, from the word appraisal. So self-appraisal, ito yung ito yung personal reflection natin doon sa knowledge and capabilities natin. While self-management naman, ito yung meron tayong control doon sa tawag nito, sa knowledge natin. Kung ano yung pwede lang nating matutunan or hindi, bahala ka. For example, hindi ka nakikinig, so choice mo yon kasi ayaw mo naman makinig, hindi ka interesado, parang ganon. Next, we have yung types of metacognition knowledge. So, unang-una, declarative knowledge known as person knowledge or personal variable. Ito yung naiintindihan natin, yung sarili nating capabilities or ability natin. For example is evaluation ng strength and weakness natin in learning. So may mga tao na ang strength nila is mabilis silang makapick up. Parang 1 or 3 times alam na nila. And yung weakness naman nila is nadidistract sila sa mga bagay-bagay na nakaka-distract sa kanila. For example, noise, mga taong naglalakad sa labas ng classroom, ganyan. Next, we have the procedural knowledge, also called as task knowledge or task variable. Sinasabi lang nito is very simple. Kung ano yung alam mo and kung ano yung iniisip mo sa isang bagay, yun na yun. And kapag strategy knowledge naman, also called as conditional knowledge or strategy variable, ito yung ability ng isang tao na gamitin yung strategies para matuto ng bagong information and also ma-adapt yung strategies sa bagong situations. So, ito yung kung anong strategies or skills na meron ka para gawin yung isang task. And we have skills na pwedeng maka-exercise ng ating metacognition. So, unang-una dyan is knowing your limits. Lahat naman ng tao is merong limits pagdating sa knowledge. So, as a person, hindi pwedeng namamagaling ka. Kung kailangan mong magtanong ka. And hindi pwede yung Mr. and Miss Know-it-all. So, dapat alam mo kung ano lang yung scope and limitations mo ng mga resources na meron ka. And later on, pwede mong i-work out yung mga bagay-bagay na hindi mo pa alam para ma-expand yung knowledge mo. Number 2 is modifying your approach. So, from the word modifying, which means pwede tayong magbawas and magdagdag ng approach. So, it begins with the recognition na yung strategy natin is hindi appropriate doon sa isang task. For example, paano ang strategy mo sa pag-aaral? Inuuna mo ba yung mahirap kaysa sa madali? Or paano pag yung strategy na in-apply mo is hindi pala naging effective for you, bumagsak ka sa quiz, ganyan. So, magmo-modify ka ngayon, iibahin mo yung strategy. So, yun yung in-explain lang ng modifying your approach. Next, we have the scheming. So, pag sinabi natin scheming, basically, tawag nito, nagbabrowse or nag-i-scan lang tayo ng mga materials. For example, reading a book, nagtaano ka lang ng mga keywords, phrases, or sentences. And parang isipin nyo table of contents. Parang ganun lang siya. Or parang ganito sa PowerPoint. Yan, yung mga keywords lang ang nilalagay for you to understand or to learn. Next, we have the rehearsing. So, sa rehearsing naman, hindi siya about talking, paulit-ulit ganyan, or writing, and parang gawing habit kung ano natutunan mo. But, you are making a summary of your experience, kung ano yung natutunan mo. So, parang iniisip mo is, tawag nito, nagre-review ka and then, gumagamit ka ng iba't ibang strategies like talking, using hand gestures para matandaan mo yung pinag-aaralan mo. And lastly, we have self-test. So, sa self-test naman, aside from nagme-memorize ka, gumagawa ka ng sarili mong quiz. For me, pag nagre-review ako, gumagawa ako ng self-test. Hindi ako nagbe-base lang sa isang definition. So, sinesearch ko pa siya and then pag gumawa ko ng quiz ko, pinaparaphrase ko siya. Para kahit papaano, kapag if ever man na baguhin ni instructor yung definition doon sa test paper, at least naintindihan ko siya dahil meron akong cognition, nako-comprehend ko siya. So, kahit balik-balik ta rin yung definition, okay lang sa akin. So, next we have the types of metacognitive learners. So, unang-una dyan is yung tacit learner. So, pag sinabi kasi nating tacit learners, no, unaware sila doon sa metacognitive knowledge nila or yung understanding nila sa sarili nilang pag-iisip. Wala silang iniisip na specific learning or strategies, pero tinanggap nila na meron silang alam, meron din silang hindi alam. So, yun ang tacit learner. Ang mga aware learners naman, um, alam nila or aware sila doon sa mga thinking processes na ginagamit nila, pero hindi nila kino-consider or hindi sila naghahanap ng mga strategies na gagamitin kapag meron na silang kaharap na task na dapat matutunan. And strategic learners naman, these are very organized people wherein pinag-iisipan nilang mabuti kung saan nila i-apply yung strategies nila para matulungan silang matuto. So, hindi lang isa yung strategy na meron silang planning. Iba't iba ang strategies na ina-apply nila para matuto sila. So, dito, sinasabi nila na, for example, strategy 1 is better than strategy 2 or strategy 2 is better than strategy 1 and 3, parang ganon. Na-identify nila which strategy is the best for them. And the last type of metacognitive learner is yung reflective learner. So, strategic din sila kasi yung thinking nila kung paano sila matuto is by reflecting kung anong nangyayari. For example, nag-quiz ka and then may question doon na parang naka-reflect ka, parang natandaan mo na, alat iniscuss to ni ma'am, nandun siya banda nakaupo. Ganon. Pero, nakakapag-generate sila or nakakapag-gawa sila ng iba't ibang strategies. Kaya lang, wala nga lang best results. Kasi nga parang nagre-reflect lang sila, nagre-recall. Ganun siya. So, isa naman is thinking. So, tapos na tayo sa learning, cognition, metacognition, and thinking naman. So, pag sinabi natin thinking, these are the skills that are learned, practiced, improved, and developed. So, ano ba yung sinabi ko kanina? So, ang thinking is conscious cognitive process na kasama doon is processing information, yung making decisions, ganyan. Ano pa ba? Able to understand other people, yung in-express mo yung sarili mo, ganyan. Yun yung sinasabi lang ng thinking. And sa thinking, we have the self-regulated learning wherein pag sinabi natin self-regulated learning, it is a systematic process to direct thoughts, feelings, and actions para makuha mo yung academic goals mo. Hindi lang academic, sa ibang bagay din. And dahil dyan, meron tayong components of self-regulated learning, which are planning, problem solving, and self-evaluation. So from the word itself, planning, nagpaplano tayo kung paano tayo matututo, and with that, it increases our efficiency. Gaano tayo magiging effective. We are able to control and motivate ourselves or other person. And pag problem solving naman, it allow us to learn to think and finding solutions kapag meron tayong mga bagay na kailangang i-resolba. So, dyan papasok yung critical thinking, logical reasoning, and analyzation. And yung isa naman is self-evaluation wherein ini-evaluate mo yung sarili mo. Kagaya ng sinabi ko kanina, ano yung strength and weaknesses mo sa learning. So, hindi lang doon sa learning ka magbe-base. Ano yung strength and weakness mo as a person. And with that, we are increasing our self-awareness na pwedeng mag-lead into better understanding sa sarili nating emotions, strength, and weaknesses. And we have the types of learning styles. So, sa types of learning styles, we have the visual. From the word visual, which means natututo tayo sa ano na yun, natututo tayo sa kung ano lang yung nakikita natin. And example niyan is yung mga diagrams, charts, graphs, maps, and iba't ibang visual aids. So, visual learners, meron silang mga photographic memory. For example, one or two, three times mo lang tignan sa blackboard or whiteboard, natatandaan na nila. And they're able to recall information very fast. And next, we have the auditory learning style. So, sa auditory learning style naman is they are able to learn using their sense of hearing. So, nakikinig lang sila and nagsasalita. So, they prefer to listen lectures kaysa nagbabasa, and nag-enjoy sila listening to audiobooks and podcasts. They're able to participate in group discussions, ganyan. They can remember names pero hindi nila matandaan yung muka. Parang familiar ako sa pangalan niya pero hindi ko matandaan yung mukha niya, ganun. And they are easily distracted by sounds, sa ingay. Ganun. And next, we have the verbal or linguistic. So from the word verbal, which means they're able to learn. People who are verbal learners or linguistic learners, they're able to use language to understand concepts. And mga characteristics ng ganitong learner is tawag nito, malawak ang vocabulary nila. So they excel through working and written spoken words. So meron silang recollection ng information na kung anong narinig nila. And example ng mga verbal learners is they rewrite their notes or textbooks. Gumagawa sila ng reviewer, ganyan. May mga summary, ganyan. And also group discussions. Next, we have the physical or kinesthetic learning style. So, sa physical, meron involved dito yung body and sense of touch. For example, nagre-review ka, yung kamay mo gumagalaw, nagkukuya-kuy ka, or lakad ka ng lakad kasi yun yung way of learning. Kailangan gumagalaw yung buong katawan mo. And tawag nito, more on touching. Yan, nagdududol habang nakikinig, gano'n. Kailangan may involvement ang body, yung body movement, gano'n. Next, we have the logical or mathematical learning style. So, pag sinabi nating logical learning style, ito yung way of learning wherein nagamit tayo ng reasoning para ma-solve yung mga problems natin and understand information. So, ang mga taong to is gustong-gusto nila ng numbers, nag-solve sila ng mga equation, formulas, ganyan, and gustong-gusto ng statistics or calculus, ganyan. And mabilis silang makarecognize ng patterns and connections between unrelated content. And they work systematically. They are goal-oriented, organized, ganyan. And nagdidesisyon sila based sa facts. So, dapat laging may basis. So, next is social or interpersonal learning style. So, from the word social, they learn best through interaction with others. Dapat group. Example nito is group study. Kasi gusto nilang makakuha ng opinion from other people. Parang hindi sila nagtitiwala sa sarili nila. Ganyan. And yung isa naman is solitary learning style. So, solitary from the word soli or soul, which means solo. So, they prefer to learn independently and alone. So, ang mga taong solitary learner, driven sila na matuto and achieve yung personal satisfaction. And they think independently and they are aware of their own thought processes. So, mas gusto nila ng quiet environment. Gusto nilang magtrabaho sa quiet space. Ayaw nila ng maingay and maraming tao. Parang mga introvert, ganun. And they are also goal-oriented wherein nagpaplano sila. And they are aware of their strengths and weaknesses. And meron silang strong self-management skills kasi nga goal-oriented sila. So, they may do well in studying online. Pwede din yung gumagawa sila ng mga activities independently. From the word solo nga. Okay, so that ends our discussion about lesson 12, learning to be a better student. And thank you very much for listening.